so hard to see the good if you're only seeing the bad. Like
Yeah.
there's so many people that struggle with what their version of success is because they're looking at someone else's. There's so many people that struggle with their world of relationship because they're judging theirs based off of someone else's, right? And when you're constantly in the space of not realizing or noticing your world, your reality, because you're living in what appears to be someone else's, well, your shit is never gonna be right. It's never gonna be right?
Yeah,
Like if I'm looking at everybody's relationship with their father and I'm going, I want that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not embracing the world of good that came from my dad. I could have went down the road that my dad did. I could have easily been wrapped into the same world of, drugs, gangs, violence, stick up boys, right? Like the embracing the hood at the highest level. Not that I don't, because I do. That's where I'm from. But I could have embraced it at a much higher level and followed in the footsteps of my father because that's what he did. But I was able to realize the mistakes he made. I was able to go, well, I don't want to go down that street because I see the consequences of it. That's a choice that I made, right? Some don't make that choice. By the way, no disrespect to those that haven't. It's to each his own. You do what you want based off of who you've seen or what you want to be true to. Live your life. Ultimately, we get one. Live it for you. Live it to the best space and place that you feel you can win at. That's my motto. I'm not here to tell you right from wrong. I'm saying I identify things differently and I make decisions based off of examples that I can look at as not bad, but ones that if I didn't have, I could have made that mistake.
Yeah.
So without a lesson that was intentional, my dad's giving me lessons.
Yeah.
Right? It's not intentional. My dad never said, I went to jail, so you didn't have to.
Yeah.
He never said that. But hey, man, seeing you in jail, Dad.
That's my wisdom, yeah.
Well, that just made me realize I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Hearing how you talk about it, hearing how many times you went. Well, I don't want to go there. Seeing what drugs did to you and you talking and telling the stories, what you lost, what you had, what you don't. Well, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to embrace my father. I'm going to embrace this imperfect human being because I'll be damned if he's not positioning me for personal success in just understanding what I should and shouldn't do. And it seems so logical. It seems like common sense, but sometimes it's not that easy for some. Me and my dad, we weren't the closest, but we weren't not close. My dad, at the end of the day, I'm going to love my dad for simply being my dad. Now, my dad's life, had several different versions of drastic downs, right? A small amount of ups, but a lot of downs. I can easily sit here and ridicule or judge my dad for the mistakes that he made or for his past, but that does nothing. I don't like to focus on problem. I focus on solution.
Yes.
So with me and my dad and our relationship, it was always one of solution. Like you can't go back and fix the years that you weren't present. There is nothing that we can do about that time. We can have a conversation about it. We can talk about it. And then me and my dad talking, my biggest thing was you don't have to focus on what you can't change. The fact that you're here now and that you made a decision to get clean, to turn your life around. It's never too late. My dad was, 50 plus at the time when he said, I'm gonna go ahead and figure it out. And I'm gonna close that door and I'm gonna work on this other door. This door over here was, like I said, jail, drugs, in and out of his kid's life, to the point where, there was a time when we didn't know where my dad was. And I bumped into my dad on a train. I tell a story. I bumped into my dad on a public transportation in Philadelphia. Like not seeing him in years, I randomly saw my dad. And my dad was so embarrassed, he got off the train and ran. But it's like, that's where that world and that relationship was. And what I do very well, I don't hold on to grudges or gripes. It takes too much time. It takes too much energy. Things will work themselves out. They never not have. It'll always work itself out. It's about the grandkids. And our relationship got better as he embraced the opportunity to be a great grandpa. And seeing him try to do that right was his way of saying, I wish I could have done this right for you. I can't. Like, I know what you're saying without saying it. Sometimes you don't need words. Although some people do need them, sometimes your actions are a little better. And my dad's actions in trying his best to be an unbelievable grandfather made our father-son relationship that much better. So everything kind of, it works itself out.
Yeah.
And, and losing my dad is when you look back and you go, yo, he was all right? Like my reflection, my conversation, my words when I speak on behalf of my father, they're so positive and dope because he did good. I'm all right.
Mm-hmm.
I came out okay. Mom, Dad, you did good.
Yeah.
Like whatever you did to put whatever recipe in this pot, the food came out all right. I'm a good person. I got a good heart. I treat people with respect. Ultimately, I want the most that I can possibly get out of life. I love to love. I'm a good dude. Am I perfect? No. I got some of them imperfections over there. I got some of the ones from over here, from Mom and Dad. Okay. That's life.
Of course.
I'm going to figure it out, but I figure it out without the want or need for problem. Like, me and my ex-wife got to a point of realization, after having a significant amount of ups and downs, after our divorce, we got to a point where you realize it's not about us. Like, we did it. We had our opportunity and we're now adults. How we choose to live as adults, well, that's a choice that we make, but we're trying to make the best choices so that they have a better life. So it's about them. When I see somebody making the efforts to make life for them better, well, then we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm. We have the same vision.
We got the same vision.
Yeah.
It's not about us at this point. It's not about us as a generation at this point. It's about us trying our best to do things, to create change, to move ground, shift the gears so that they have a much better opportunity than what we did.
Yeah.
That's the world of the baton being passed correctly. And if you understand that and you have that mindset, you approach your day-to-day differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have that mindset. And it's one thing that I'm very thankful for. And through the things that should be problems or were supposed to be problems, I've never held on to them long enough. And by the way, just bringing it back full circle, that's a monster. That grudge monster, that's a monster.
Mm.
I'm going to get you back. Wait, you just watch. I'm going to hold on to that and I'm going to prove to you, or I'm going to show you, or I'm not talking to nobody over here. That's a monster.
Mm.
So you can fuel that monster, or that monster doesn't have to have an existence in me. I think the biggest memory for me is the one of being complacent. As a child, I wasn't really a kid that embraced the world of challenge, right? I was very complacent. I was okay with being a subpar to low average student, right? I was okay with not trying. I was okay with not giving my all. And I was kind of okay with getting over, right? So the biggest memory that I have in my childhood is like when I got to that early teen years, that 12, that 13, that 14, being sneaky and thinking that you're constantly one-upping someone was that's what I was embracing at the highest level. Do your homework. I did it. Did you really do your homework? I did it. And you taking my word for it and not checking my homework. Oh, I didn't do it, but you think I did. I got over. Ultimately, you're slowly cheating yourself over the course of years, and it's not until you get a reality check as to why that work was necessary that you realize you're just not doing what you're supposed to do with your life, right? You're not giving your all. I had a lot of different examples of that. I truly had a mom that made sure that I had, and I didn't take advantage or embrace the real work that she put in until I got to an older age of true understanding. But to be honest, I really threw a lot of those things to the side. The extracurricular activities, the swim teams, the football teams, the basketball teams, the track and field, the baseball, all of these things as a kid, you don't understand your parents are doing to try to provide you with a world of opportunity. They're trying to keep you occupied. They're trying to embrace this idea of hard work, effort, activity, engage. They're doing all these things or all of these things to their kids, or hopefully, right, for their kids to put their kids in a position to just want. Right? Want the best, compete, study, learn, be excited about their future. That light bulb went off late. Thankfully, when it went off at the right time, and I was able to identify a lot of stuff that I couldn't then. And also, thankfully, that a lot of the lessons that my mom constantly embedded in me about you don't start things that you're not going to finish, you don't quit, apply your all, do this or don't do it. You're not cheating anybody but yourself. All of these things that I heard over the course of time. There was a moment when I got older, it all hit at the same time. But the real memory for me now, looking back, is I'm glad that I do see that I am aware of that, because not being aware of that is the hugest loss. Thinking that I took full advantage, thinking that I really applied or tried myself, thinking that that was 100% would be the real loss. So one of my best memories is knowing that at one point I was a slacker. I was the guy that wanted to look like he was doing, but never truly was, unless it was something that I loved and embraced. And, that was basketball, but the chances of me making that were very slim. But, that's to answer your question, it's a ballpark of those memories that I now look back on that I appreciate, but that also act as the fuel for the hard work and the 100% that you see that I put into everything I do today.
Yeah.